Good evening, I'm your host, Jack Remington of Jack Remington Political Analyst. Today's video, we're going to talk about week 5 of the Joe Biden show, Joe Biden's 5th week in the office of the presidency. So let's take a look at what he did. Let's start with his announcement that the United States has crossed the grim milestone of 500,000 deaths from COVID-19. And he has his Dr. Anthony Fauci, or I call him Dr. Anthony Fauci. Hope I don't get this video taken down because of that like I did my other video.
I believe that if you look back historically, we've done worse than most any other country. It's so tough to just go back and try and, do a metaphorical autopsy on how things went. It was just bad. It is bad now.
So Dr. Fauci starts out with this little thing. You heard what he said, that the United States has done worse than any other country. Well, we're the third most populous country behind China and India. We're number 3. So how can you say that? China and India both are not very reliable in their data, nor do they want to be or wish to be. I don't pay attention to what this Dr. Fauci says. So the Biden administration faced criticism for reopening a tent facility in Texas to address the surge of migrant children arriving alone without their parents. So let's take a look at what the press secretary said.
Springs, Texas, for migrant children, and you said it is not kids in cages. We've seen some photos now of containers. Is there a better description? Is it kids in containers instead of kids in cages? What is the White House's description of this facility?
Well, let me give a broader description of what's happening here. We have a number of unaccompanied minors, children who are coming into the country without their families. What we are not doing, what the last administration did, was separate those kids, rip them from the arms of their parents at the border. We are not doing that. That is immoral, and that is not the approach of this administration. These kids, we have a couple of options. We can send them back home and do a dangerous journey back. We are not doing that either. That is also putting them at risk. We can quickly transfer them from CBP to these HHS-run facilities. That's one option. Or we can put them with families and sponsors without any vetting. There were some problems that process ran into as well. We've chosen the middle option. And these HHS facilities, this is one of them you're referring to, we had to expand and open additional facilities because there was not enough space in the existing facilities and if we were to abide by COVID protocols. That's the process and the step. This facility in Texas, which has been reopened, has been revamped, there are teachers, there is medical facilities, and our objective is to move these kids quickly from there to vetted, sponsored families, and to places where they can safely be. This is a difficult situation. It's a difficult choice. That's the choice we've made.
So just one step back from that, we've been talking to people down at the border who say that right now DHS and the Border Patrol are using the same kind of facilities now that they did during the Trump administration, and that there's a facility right now, it's in Donna, Texas instead of McAllen, Texas, but it's tents and chain link fence around it. And so
a CBP facility before they're transferred to the HHS facility, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, and the issue would be that just in the last couple days they had hundreds of kids that they were holding for over 72 hours, which is the legal limit to keep somebody in a temporary facility. So I'm just curious why
well,
this is
let's be clear though, because I know you want to be clear with the public about the differences. The CBP facilities, which you're right, the objective is to move kids, unaccompanied minors, as quickly as possible, under 72 hours, to these HHS-sponsored facilities, which is the one where we've been referring to in Texas. They are two different things. There were some delays last week because of weather and because some of these facilities to safely move these kids to did not have power and were not in a place where they had the capacity to take in these kids and do it safely. That is not our objective. That is not our goal. So some, unfortunately, did stay 4 days, 5 days, or longer. But the objective is to move them as quickly as possible to the HHS-sponsored facilities.
Has the White House seen the comment from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who, speaking about that HHS facility in Carrizo Springs, said this is not okay, never has been okay, never will be okay, no matter the administration or party?
Well, I think the difficulty is I haven't seen the full context of the quote or interview of the tweet that she shared, but I would say the difficulty is what I outlined earlier. We have kids coming across the border. It is heartbreaking. I think we all as human beings are heartbroken, as parents, as mothers, as fathers too. We only have a couple of choices. What we are not doing is dividing these kids and separating from their parents at the border, which is what the last administration did, and why President Biden, or then candidate Biden, and then candidate Harris were outspoken at the time about these kids being pulled from their parents. What we are doing is working as quickly as possible to process these kids into these HHS facilities, which have been revamped, which have medical and educational services available, so that we can then transfer them to families. That's what our approach is.
And so if there is this big difference, would the administration support, if it could be done safely because of COVID and with privacy concerns for the children in mind, would the administration support letting reporters in and press in to see what the difference is?
I think you'd have to talk to the Department of Homeland Security about that. There are obviously safety protocols about that, privacy concerns, but I certainly encourage you to reach out about that.
Okay, so to hear her talk, the Trump administration just ripped the arms from the children from their parents. Okay, she didn't say anything. She didn't mention that the majority of the children coming up are not with their parents or relatives. They're with strangers or coyotes, and they need to be taken away because of sexual abuse and other abuses that are going on with these migrant children. See, no one wants to talk about that. That's the big elephant in the room, and everybody thinks they got the answer. Well, they don't have the answer, or they have the answer. They're covering it up. That's part of the Democrat playbook. Cover it up. This is extremely shameful how they're conducting this. But as you'll see when we get caught up with the Joe Biden show videos, you'll see that it's really bad. Worse than what this video can show here. Moving forward, Joe Biden ordered his first known military strike. It was in Syria. He's targeting the Iran-backed militias in Syria, believed to be behind an attack on U.S.-led base in Iraq. In foreign countries, you can bet on things like the presidential elections. You can bet on the Oscars. You can bet on certain things. And Padbrooks in Ireland, there was someone who bought a ticket, said that Joe Biden will have the first airstrike within the first 6 months of the presidency. And I think he paid 3-1 for it. Well, he just got the winner, and it hasn't even been 100 days. It was just barely a month. And here Joe Biden's got a first strike. And everybody does not want to admit the cold, stone, hard fact of life in the United States of America. The military-industrial complex wants to be in action. They turned on Donald Trump when he put him behind the desk. So what they call stateside means they were calling him back. Donald Trump did a lot of good things for this country, and he campaigned on this somewhat. But it wasn't his main campaign promise. His big thing was the wall and illegal immigration problems. That was what got him elected. He did say that he was going to bring the troops home as we're fighting this endless war. It's got to stop sometime, and he's the man to stop it. He stopped it. They turned on him. Now Joe Biden, he's going to rubber stamp everything, and that's going to, what do you want to do? Oh, we want to go into Syria. We want to go over back in Afghanistan. We're going to do, and you watch. The military will be back in action, and you watch. There'll be more dead bodies coming home from American servicemen, and I'm telling you, you voted for this. This is what you got, and I'm going to rub it in. As you can see with Joe Biden, the pen is mightier than the sword, but I don't think Joe Biden can handle a pen or a sword, as we just saw. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it made sense to you. Stay tuned for the next video. Always a great day to be an American. Thank you. Have a great day.